Please hang up and try again.
Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic. I'm Adam Ryan Daniels, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming movie X-Men Apocalypse. We know that the movie is going to be set in the 80s, so it'll be following the First Class team, so Beast, Mystique, and then the McAvoy and Fassbender team. We'll probably see Professor Xavier trying to restart the school after he let it fall to shambles in the events of Days of Future Past. So since we know very little about this movie, it might be fun to talk about who we want to see before a lot of casting is announced. So who do we want to see? Let me first start with a quick explanation of who Apocalypse is. So Apocalypse showed up in the post-credits of Days of Future Past. He is the oldest mutant in existence. He was the first mutant ever born on Earth. He was born during kind of the Egyptian rule, and they worshipped him as a god because he was able to do these crazy things that they had no explanation for. He has a habit of going into hibernation and then waking up at different points through time, and whenever he wakes up, he's kind of worshipped as a different god. So it's assumed that he'll wake up in the 80s, something will cause him to wake up or whatever, and he will try to conquer whatever civilization is around, which is us. He tends to have 4 lieutenants, known as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And so a big question of this movie is what 4 mutants are going to be those horsemen? So let me start with that. I'm going to start with Magneto. I think they're going to make Magneto one of his lieutenants. It'll make him the big bad villain again. It'll also show us how powerful Apocalypse is if he can control the will of someone like Magneto. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both of those characters. And if Magneto is a horseman, I'm going to bet that they're going to make Quicksilver a horseman as well, playing on the fact that Quicksilver is Magneto's son, which they hinted at in the first movie, but I think they're going to go for it in the second movie and really make that part of the story. That Magneto has been swayed to the dark side, and now Quicksilver, wanting to please his father, get to know his father, easily also goes to the dark side. This also handles the problem of Quicksilver being too powerful. They took him out of most of Days of Future Past because he could easily stop everything from happening. Where if he is a villain, it gives our heroes something truly insurmountable to tackle. Right? Like his power, like how could you stop him? So it gives us a real challenge instead of if they made him a hero, the people that get chosen as horsemen would have a lot to deal with. So I think they're going to go the route of making him a villain, which in the comic books, he is a villain of the X-Men for most of his time in those comics. So I think it would make a lot of sense. Next, I'm going to guess Wolverine. We know that Jackman is coming back for Apocalypse, but with this whole time travel thing that they've set up, I think they're going to do something with Wolverine that makes it easy for him to forget that this happened at the end of the movie. So if he's under some sort of mind control of Apocalypse, the whole movie happens, and at the very end he's thrown back into the woods without any memory, I think that would handle it. So it allows Wolverine to be a central character, but as a villain, and our heroes have to somehow take him down. So I think that'd be a cool twist. He was also with Mystique at the end of Days of Future Past, so when Apocalypse recruits Wolverine, it may somehow get Mystique involved in this conflict, but maybe not as a horseman. I'm putting my bet on the 4th horseman as Gambit. They're going to introduce Gambit as the morally gray mutant that kind of will do anything for a buck. I don't think he'll need as much convincing to join the dark side. It'll allow us to get to know Gambit as a character, and at the very end, he can maybe redeem himself, overcome the mind control or whatever, and save the day, leading up to a Gambit solo film. Because he has a solo film coming, I don't think they're going to intertwine him too much with the X-Men. I think he's going to go on his own, try to become a hero, learn how to be a hero, and that'll be that movie. So I think they're going to introduce him as a horseman. So if we know who are against the X-Men, who's going to be in the X-Men? I think we'll definitely have Beast, we'll definitely have Professor X, but I'm hoping that they bring in younger versions of Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Storm. In the older movies, it was set up that they were the teachers, that they've been there a long time. So in that timeline, it would make sense if they start joining the team at about this time. They join the team, they learn how to use their powers. We see a young Cyclops, we see a young Storm that are trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. And it can give us a chance to explore those characters in ways that maybe the older movies didn't go into. For example, Cyclops. I made a video about the most underused heroes in these X-Men movies, and my number one was Cyclops. He was never the leader of the team that we wanted him to be. So this might give him that chance to see a young Cyclops taking charge, leading the group. So I think that'd be cool to establish them as the new X-Men, and they would be tied to Beast, and they would kind of be really, truly the first class of X-Men after Xavier starts his school again. I also think Mystique will join the X-Men, at least for this movie, because her wanting to save the planet probably overrides whatever pride issues she has. So I think this will also allow for Jennifer Lawrence to kind of become a hero and maybe take over some of these X-Men movies down the line if Hugh Jackman is no longer the face of the franchise. So those are my bets. We haven't heard any casting yet, so it's still really early. But who do you want to see in X-Men Apocalypse? Are there other mutants that haven't gotten the on-screen treatment that you want to see? Are there people that you're sick of seeing? Do you not want to see Mystique in another movie? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.
Please hang up and try again.